The query, Crisis of USA. What happened USA? Musk versus Trump refers to a highly publicized feud between U.S. President Donald Trump and billionaire Elon Musk in June 2025, which has been framed by some as emblematic of broader political, economic, and social tensions in the United States. This conflict, rooted in a disagreement over a massive tax and spending bill, escalated into a public war of words with significant implications for markets, government operations, and public discourse. Introduction. A feud that shook the nation in early June 2025, the United States witnessed an unprecedented public clash between two of its most prominent figures, President Donald Trump, in his second term, and Elon Musk, the world's richest man and a former key ally of the administration. What began as a policy disagreement over Trump's signature tax and spending legislation, referred to as the Big Beautiful Bill, rapidly escalated into a bitter, personal feud played out on social media platforms Truth Social and X. The fallout included threats to cut billions in government contracts, allegations of corruption, and a significant market crash affecting Musk's Tesla, with broader implications for U.S. politics, the economy, and global perceptions of American stability. This conflict is not merely a personal spat but a symptom of deeper issues in the U.S., including the concentration of power among billionaires, the politicization of government contracts, and the fragility of political alliances in a polarized nation. Some media outlets and commentators have described it as a crisis due to its potential to disrupt critical government functions, such as space exploration, and its reflection of governance challenges under Trump's administration. This analysis explores the timeline of events, the underlying causes, the immediate and long-term consequences, and the broader implications for the United States, while critically examining the narrative surrounding the timeline of the Trump-Musk feud. To understand the crisis, we must first outline the key events that unfolded, primarily between June 3 and June 8, 2025. Based on multiple sources, including news reports and posts on X. Pre-2024, A Rocky Relationship 2016-2020, Elon Musk, initially a Democrat supporter, joined Trump's business advisory councils during his first term but resigned in 2017 over Trump's withdrawal from the Paris Climate Accord. Trump praised Musk as one of our great brains in 2020, but tensions emerged in 2022 when Trump called Musk a bull's artist, and Musk suggested Trump was too old to run again. 2023-2024, Musk shifted rightward, endorsing Trump after an assassination attempt in July 2024. He donated nearly $300 million to Trump's campaign, becoming a major financial backer. After Trump's victory, Musk was appointed to lead the Department of Government Efficiency, DOGE, a new agency tasked with slashing federal spending. Early 2025, the alliance peaks January, May 2025. Musk wielded significant influence in the Trump administration, overseeing mass layoffs and agency cuts through DOGE. He was a frequent presence at the White House, even sleeping in the Lincoln bedroom and joining cabinet meetings. Trump and Musk publicly praised each other, with Musk declaring, "I love it real Donald Trump as much as a straight man can love another man." May 30, 2025, Trump celebrated Musk's tenure at DOGE in a White House ceremony, presenting him with a golden key. Musk promised to remain a friend and advisor, despite concluding his 130-day role as a special government employee. June 2025, the feud erupts. June 3, 2025, Musk began criticizing Trump's Big Beautiful Bill, a sweeping tax and spending package that included tax cuts and raised the national debt ceiling. On X, Musk called it a disgusting abomination that would add $2.4 trillion to the deficit over a decade, undermining DOGE's cost-cutting efforts. June 4, 2025. Musk intensified his attacks, urging his 220 million X followers to contact Congress to oppose the bill. He reposted old Trump tweets from 2012 to 2013 criticizing government spending, implicitly accusing Trump of hypocrisy. June 5, 2025, the feud exploded in public view during a White House meeting with German Chancellor Friedrich Merz. Trump expressed disappointment in Musk, suggesting he was upset over the bill's removal of electric vehicle (EV) tax credits, which impacted Tesla. Trump mocked Musk's recent black eye, saying, "Do you want a little makeup?" Musk's response: on X, Musk dismissed Trump's claims as false, asserting the bill was passed in the dead of night, without his input. He claimed, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election," and accused Trump of being implicated in unreleased Jeffrey Epstein files, a serious allegation without evidence. Musk also suggested Trump should be impeached and predicted his tariffs would cause a recession. Trump's counterattack. On Truth Social, Trump claimed Musk had "gone crazy" and threatened to cut all federal contracts and subsidies to Musk's companies, including SpaceX and Tesla, which receive billions annually. He suggested selling or giving away a red Tesla Model S parked at the White House, a symbol of their former alliance. Market impact: Tesla's stock plummeted 14%, erasing $150 billion in market value, and Musk's personal net worth dropped by $34 billion. Trump Media, parent of Truth Social, also fell 8%. SpaceX threat: Musk announced SpaceX would decommission its Dragon spacecraft, critical for NASA's International Space Station (ISS) missions, but reversed this decision hours later after calls for de-escalation. June 6, 2025, both sides showed signs of cooling off. Musk responded, "Fair enough," to Trump's comments about reviewing contracts and wished him well on X. Trump told reporters he had no plans to speak with Musk but avoided further attacks. June 7, 2025. Trump told ABC News that Musk had "lost his mind" and expressed sadness rather than anger, while considering selling the White House Tesla. Musk's father, Errol, urged him to end the feud. June 8, 2025. Trump told NBC News his relationship with Musk was likely over, citing Musk's disrespect for the presidency. Vice President J.D. Vance suggested Musk had gone nuclear and might not be welcomed back. Musk mused about starting a new political party for the 80% in the middle. Aftermath: by June 10, 2025, the public feud had simmered down, but the rift remained. The White House signaled no immediate moves to oust Musk-aligned staffers, and Tesla's stock stabilized. However, the incident raised questions about the stability of Trump's administration, the role of billionaires in governance, and the future of U.S. space and technology sectors. Causes of the feud: the Trump-Musk feud was not a sudden eruption but the culmination of ideological, personal, and structural tensions. Below are the key causes. 1. Policy disagreement over the Big Beautiful Bill. The primary trigger was Musk's opposition to Trump's tax and spending bill, which passed the House but faced Senate challenges. The bill included tax cuts, significant reductions, particularly for corporations and high earners, aligning with Trump's economic agenda, debt ceiling increase, allowing more borrowing, which the Congressional Budget Office estimated would add $2.4 trillion to the deficit over a decade, elimination of EV credits, removal of Biden-era tax incentives for electric vehicles, directly impacting Tesla's competitiveness. Musk, fresh from leading Doge's cost-cutting mission, viewed the bill as fiscally irresponsible and a betrayal of his efforts to reduce government spending. He called it pork-filled and criticized its secretive passage, claiming it undermined his work. Trump, however, saw the bill as a cornerstone of his second-term agenda and interpreted Musk's criticism as disloyalty. 2. Withdrawal of Jared Isaacman's NASA nomination. A significant flashpoint was Trump's decision to withdraw the nomination of Jared Isaacman, a Musk ally, to lead NASA. Isaacman, a billionaire and SpaceX collaborator, was critical to SpaceX's interests, as NASA contracts are a major revenue source. Musk was reportedly furious, seeing this as a personal and strategic betrayal. The New York Times noted this as a key moment in the erosion of their relationship. 3. Personal egos and power dynamics. Both Trump and Musk are known for their outsized personalities and need for control, making a clash almost inevitable. Trump, sensitive to perceived slights, was stung by Musk's claim that he was indispensable to the 2024 election victory. Musk, accustomed to unilateral decision-making at Tesla and SpaceX, chafed under White House constraints and Trump's expectation of loyalty. Their mutual reliance, Trump on Musk's money and influence, Musk on Trump's government contracts, created a volatile dynamic. 4. Structural tensions in the Trump administration. Musk's role in Doge alienated key administration figures, including Chief of Staff Susie Wiles and cabinet members, due to his aggressive cuts and lack of political finesse. For example, a February 2025 email from Doge demanding federal employees report weekly accomplishments caused confusion and resentment, especially when sent to independent judges. These missteps eroded Musk's influence, setting the stage for conflict with Trump. 5. External pressures and public perception. Musk's association with Trump damaged his public image, with protests at Tesla sites and boycotts labeling Tesla vehicles swastikas. His far-right ties, including controversial gestures interpreted as Nazi salutes, further tarnished his reputation. Meanwhile, Trump faced pressure to consolidate power and distance himself from a figure increasingly seen as a liability. Consequences of the feud. The Trump-Musk feud had immediate and far-reaching consequences, affecting markets, government operations, political dynamics, and public discourse. 1. Economic and market impacts. Tesla's stock crash. On June 5, Tesla's stock fell 14%, wiping out $150 billion in market value, the largest single-day decline in its history. Musk's net worth dropped by $34 billion, though he remained the world's richest person. The sell-off reflected investor fears of regulatory retaliation and loss of government support, broader market volatility. Trump media shares dropped 8%, and the feud fueled market uncertainty, with ex-posts noting narrative-fueled volatility affecting altcoins and other assets. Analysts warned of potential regulatory scrutiny for Tesla's autonomous driving ambitions. SpaceX and Starlink concerns. Trump's threat to cut SpaceX contracts raised fears of disruptions to NASA's ISS missions and national defense, given SpaceX's role in satellite launches and astronaut transport. Musk's brief threat to decommission the Dragon spacecraft underscored the risks of relying on private companies for critical infrastructure. 2. Political ramifications. Republican Party fractures. The feud exposed divisions within the GOP. While most Republicans, like Representative Ralph Norman, avoided taking sides, others, like Representative Troy Nehls, criticized Musk, saying he had lost his damn mind. Representative Tom Massey subtly defended Musk, citing his math on the deficit. Vice President J.D. Vance backed Trump but avoided direct attacks on Musk, reflecting his own past tensions with the billionaire. Democratic Schadenfreude. Democrats capitalized on the feud, likening it to a Real Housewives drama and accusing both men of prioritizing personal agendas over public interest. Rep. Jamie Raskin called them two gentlemen with gargantuan egos, plundering the nation. Musk's political ambitions. Musk's suggestion of starting a new political party for the 80% in the middle hinted at a potential shift in his political strategy, though analysts doubted its feasibility given his polarizing image. His threat to fund anti-Trump candidates in 2026 midterms could reshape GOP primaries. 3. Government operations and national security. Space program risks. SpaceX's Dragon spacecraft is the only U.S. vehicle capable of transporting astronauts to the ISS. Musk's brief decommissioning threat, even if reversed, highlighted the vulnerability of U.S. space operations to private sector disputes. NASA's reliance on SpaceX, with billions in contracts, became a focal point of concern. Starlink and defense. Starlink, SpaceX's satellite internet service, is critical for U.S. military communications. Trump's threat to cut contracts raised questions about national security, especially after Musk's 2023 refusal to let Ukraine use Starlink in Crimea, which sparked a diplomatic incident. Doge's legacy. Musk's Doge slashed thousands of federal jobs and gutted agencies like USAID and the Department of Education. The feud cast a shadow over these reforms, with critics arguing they reflected billionaire overreach rather than sound policy. 4. Social and cultural impact. Public discourse. The feud dominated headlines, with ex-posts comparing it to a Kendrick vs. Drake rap battle or a Simpsons knife fight. Memes and analogies, like Trump and Musk as a divorced couple sharing custody of J.D. Vance, reflected public fascination and cynicism, polarization and trust. The spectacle deepened public distrust in institutions, with some ex-users accusing Musk of blackmailing Trump and others viewing Trump's threats as authoritarian. The feud reinforced perceptions of governance as a reality TV drama, undermining democratic norms, billionaire influence. The clash highlighted the outsized role of billionaires in U.S. politics. The Guardian warned that democracy was the real loser, as voters were reduced to spectators in a billionaire battle royale. Musk's $250 to $300 million in campaign donations and Trump's threats to wield government power underscored concerns about plutocracy. Broader context. Is this a crisis for the USA? The term crisis in the query suggests a significant disruption to U.S. stability. While the Trump-Musk feud is not a crisis on the scale of a war or economic collapse, it reflects and exacerbates underlying tensions that could be considered crisis level in aggregate. Below, I analyze these issues and their connection to the feud. Point 1. Concentration of power among billionaires. Musk's influence, Musk's role in Doge, his financial backing of Trump, and his control over critical infrastructure, SpaceX, Starlink, Tesla, illustrate the growing power of billionaires in shaping U.S. policy. His ability to threaten ISS access or fund political campaigns underscores a shift toward oligarchic influence. Trump's leverage. Trump's threats to cut contracts show how the presidency can be used to target private companies, raising concerns about the weaponization of government power. This dynamic reflects a broader trend of blurring lines between public and private interests. Democratic implications. The Guardian and The Conversation argue that such concentration of power undermines democracy, reducing voters to viewers of elite conflicts. This perception fuels distrust in institutions, a chronic issue in the U.S. Point 2. Political polarization and instability. GOP fractures. The feud highlights divisions within the Republican Party between Trump loyalists and those sympathetic to Musk's fiscal conservatism. These tensions could weaken the GOP's ability to govern, especially with midterms looming in 2026. Trump's governance style. Trump's first term was marked by high-profile fallouts with advisors, and the Musk feud suggests a continuation of this pattern. His willingness to publicly attack a former ally and threaten economic retaliation raises questions about administrative stability. Public reaction. X posts reveal a polarized response, with some MAGA supporters backing Trump and others defending Musk's math on the deficit. This mirrors broader societal divides, where loyalty to personalities often trumps policy substance. Point 3. Economic vulnerabilities. Market sensitivity. The $150 billion Tesla crash shows how personal conflicts among elites can destabilize markets. Investors fear regulatory retaliation or loss of government contracts, which could have ripple effects across tech and defense sectors. National debt concerns. Musk's criticism of the bill's $2.4 trillion deficit increase reflects broader worries about U.S. fiscal health. With the national debt at $36.2 trillion, such disputes could erode confidence in economic policy. Tariff risks. Musk's warning that Trump's tariffs could trigger a recession aligns with concerns about trade wars, especially after Trump's call with Chinese President Xi Jinping on June 5. These policies could exacerbate inflation and supply chain issues. Point 4. Dependence on private companies. SpaceX and national security. The U.S. relies heavily on SpaceX for space exploration and defense. Musk's brief threat to decommission Dragon highlighted the risks of outsourcing critical functions to private entities, especially those led by unpredictable figures. Starlink's global role. Starlink's importance to U.S. and allied militaries, combined with Musk's history of unilateral decisions, e.g., Crimea in 2023, raises concerns about accountability. European governments are seeking alternatives due to Musk's unpredictability. Tesla's economic weight. Tesla's market cap, though reduced, remains significant. Its struggles, compounded by the feud and EV credit cuts, could impact jobs and the clean energy sector, a key U.S. priority. Point 5. Global perceptions. International embarrassment. The public nature of the feud, unfolding during a meeting with Germany's chancellor, projected an image of U.S. dysfunction. Foreign leaders may question the reliability of U.S. partnerships, especially in space and defense. Geopolitical risks. Musk's business ties to China, noted in earlier Pentagon concerns, and Trump's trade tensions with Xi Jinping complicate U.S. foreign policy. The feud could weaken America's position in strategic competition, while not a singular crisis. These issues collectively strain U.S. governance, economic stability, and global standing. The feud amplifies existing fault lines, making it a microcosm of broader challenges. Critical analysis. Beyond the headlines, the Trump-Musk feud, while sensational, requires a critical lens to separate hype from substance. Below, I examine the narrative and its implications. Point 1. Media amplification. Mainstream outlets like the New York Times, The Guardian, and CNN framed the feud as a historic clash, emphasizing its economic and political fallout. However, the reality TV analogies and hyperbolic language, billionaire battle royale, risk trivializing serious issues like deficit spending and government dependence on private firms. The media's focus on personal insults, such as Musk's Epstein claim or Trump's drug addict jab, overshadows substantive policy debates. 2. Musk's Epstein allegation. Musk's claim that Trump was in unreleased Epstein files, deleted after posting, was a reckless escalation. No evidence supports this, and Trump has denied any wrongdoing related to Epstein, with whom he was socially acquainted but not implicated in criminal activity. This accusation, amplified on X, fueled conspiracy theories but lacked credibility, suggesting Musk's aim was to provoke rather than inform. Point 3. Trump's threats, bluster or intent. Trump's threat to cut Musk's contracts, while alarming, may be rhetorical. SpaceX's role in national security and NASA's lack of alternatives make such a move impractical. Similarly, selling the White House Tesla seems symbolic rather than strategic. Trump's history of bold statements often outpaces action, but the mere threat signals a willingness to use government power punitively, a concerning precedent. Point 4. Musk's role, hero or opportunist. Musk's defenders, like Rep. Tom Massey, praise his fiscal conservatism and math on the deficit. Critics, including some ex-users, view him as an opportunist who backed Trump for business favors and turned when denied. His Doge tenure, while impactful, alienated allies and disrupted government functions, suggesting a lack of political acumen. Musk's pivot to a middle party may be posturing to regain leverage. Point 5. Democracy at risk. The Guardian's claim that democracy is the real loser reflects a valid concern about billionaire influence but oversimplifies the issue. U.S. democracy faces multiple threats: polarization, disinformation, voter apathy, but the feud is a symptom, not the cause. Musk's campaign spending and Trump's contract threats are legal, if ethically dubious, highlighting the need for campaign finance and government transparency reforms. What happens next? The feud's trajectory depends on Trump and Musk's actions, political pressures, and external factors. Possible scenarios include reconciliation, mutual interests, SpaceX contracts, Tesla's regulatory needs. Trump's need for GOP unity could lead to a détente. Musk's "fair enough" post and Trump's muted response on June 6 suggest openness to de-escalation. However, bruised egos and public posturing make this challenging. Continued hostility. Musk could fund anti-Trump candidates in 2026, while Trump might pursue regulatory actions against Tesla or SpaceX. This would deepen GOP fractures and market instability but risk mutual losses, given their interdependence. Musk's political pivot, a new political party, as Musk proposed, is unlikely to succeed given the US's two-party system and his polarizing image. More likely, he will focus on rebuilding Tesla's brand and distancing himself from politics, as he hinted over the weekend. Policy fallout. The "big beautiful bill" faces Senate hurdles, and Musk's opposition may embolden fiscal conservatives. If it fails, Trump could blame Musk, prolonging the feud. If it passes, Musk's influence may wane further. Long-term, the feud underscores the need for diversifying space capabilities, reducing reliance on SpaceX by investing in competitors like Boeing or Blue Origin, campaign finance reform, limiting billionaire donations to curb undue influence, government transparency, ensuring policy debates, like the bill's passage, are public and inclusive. Economic resilience, mitigating market volatility tied to elite conflicts through stronger regulations. Conclusion: a symptom of a fractured nation. The Trump-Musk feud of June 2025 is a dramatic but revealing episode in America's ongoing struggle with power, wealth, and governance. While not a standalone crisis, it amplifies deeper issues. The influence of billionaires, the fragility of political alliances, and the vulnerability of critical infrastructure to personal disputes. The $150 billion Tesla crash, threats to SpaceX contracts, and public spectacle of two titans trading insults reflect a nation grappling with its priorities and identity. For the U.S., the feud is a wake-up call to address systemic vulnerabilities, over-reliance on private companies, unchecked political spending, and a polarized public sphere. For Trump and Musk, it is a test of their ability to prioritize national interests over personal grudges. As the dust settles, the world watches to see whether this clash will reshape America's trajectory or fade as another chapter in its tumultuous political saga.